Whenever I meet members of the GSU, I talk about their field training camp, FTC. FTC is part of TS, and TS is part of GSU. Now, GSU, you know that, General Service Unit. TS is training school. So I said TS is part of GSU. GSU, you know. TS, you now know. TS is training school. So training school is part of GSU. And FTC is part of TS. FTC is part of GSU training school. FTC means field training camp. Of course, you don't expect GSU to throw bombs at Embakasi next to the airport. So they go and learn it huko Lake Magadi. So that is, today I wanted to talk about GSU training, field training camp in Magadi, which is part of the TS. FTC is part of TS, and TS is part of GSU. I usually meet GSU officers, and I talk about that area. They tell, that is what provoked me to talk today. Why is Magadi Training School a part of Magadi field training camp? Why is it a part of it called MANGELEPA? And in Kenya, people know MANGELEPA to be a band that has been there for, is it 50 years? Yeah, a band that has been there for about 50 years without breaking. Majority of the members are those who formed it. And not only did they form it, we have some bands where you find someone is in your band or organization, goes, then comes back to the same organization. But these ones never left. They have been with one band for over 50 years. The band is called Magelepa. So the question is, why is Magadi GSU camp also named Mangelepa? I'll try to answer that, and I'll also try to answer others related issues to that camp, how each and every place got its name. Because especially when you get when you get GSU officers and ask them, they say, actually, we have asked our teachers, and our teachers told us that they also found it. They also found the place called this or that. So I'll try to say that. First of all, I have to make some clarifications. Before I start my topic. Many people, majority of them being cops, ask me, are you not disclosing government secrets? Are you not disclosing government secrets? Is it okay? Are you not even committing a crime? I want to say again that government secrets are information that if it fell into the wrong ears would cause damage, especially massive damage to the security affairs or security apparatus. I will repeat that government secrets are information that if they fell into the wrong ears would cause massive damage to the security operatives. So anything anybody says, especially those who have been employed by government, if you get any information by virtue of being a government official and you disclose it and it falls into the wrong hands and it causes damage to the security, then that one is where you have gone against the Official Secrets Act. For example, if you are to say that there are 20 police officers in in that a certain police station, that already you have told the crooks that if they have to come 40 or 50 to outnumber this police. So if you talk of something that information can be used, it doesn't have to be used, but it is possible. If that information was used by other people, it would cause security damage to the government. That is, you have gone against the Official Secrets Act. For example, I've given, but I'll give another example. Telling anybody that from the main gate, you move this way and that way, 2 or 3 steps, you have reached the armory. The communication mask is, I don't know, this place and whatever. You see, those are the things when people want to attack that camp would want to know. They would want to know where is the armory, how many police officers are in the camp, where are the communication masts. Because once they attack, of course, the camp will tell other areas that we are under attack and bring reinforcement. So if you disclose such things, that is when you have gone against the Official Secrets. Any information, even if it is a sentence, I can talk for 45 minutes, but in the 45 minutes, if there is a sentence that Al Shabaab or Al Qaeda can use against our security forces or against our country, then I have gone against the Official Secrets Act. So whatever I have said, they are not of a threat to the government of the day. Since I started talking during Kibaki's time, nothing I've said that it has been of a security threat to the government of the day. I usually ask GSU people, who was Wambua, whom a hill was named. You see, there is a hill was named after Wambua, and the hill is nicknamed Mount Wamba. I even ask them, do you still call that place Mangelepa? And why do you call it Mangelepa? Another thing I ask them, what about chapati zamawe? What about chapati zamawe, etc.? And they get shocked. Tell me, Mzee, you mean those places were so called during your time? Huh? Our instructors, when asked, they say that they also found so. So these people, when they go there, you see, when I was there, of course, I was a Form 6, but most, over 80% of the people had never stepped into Form 1. My age were not an age where you ask questions. So you are told things, you just follow. But the recruits today are very learned. So they ask their instructors, why is this place called this? Why is this and this and that? And the instructors tell them, we also found it like that. That is why they get shocked to know that it used to be called that way during my time. And I usually tell them why it was so called. You see, coincidentally, 2 things happened at the same time. Coincidentally, some many years back, 2 things happened simultaneously. Events occurred, and by pure coincidence, those 2 things just occurred by purely coincidence. There was a very inquisitive recruit who was around, and the second thing is that those changes were still new, they were still fresh. They were still fresh in the mind of the people. So there was an inquisitive recruit. There was the changes were happening at that time, and so on and so forth. I do meet my age mates. Whom we were with in GSU training school, Magadi Field Training Camp, FTC Field Training Camp. And when I mention names and places and people, they are shocked. They say, yeah, yeah, now that you have said, I can remember. Imagine I had forgotten. Imagine I'd have forgotten. But thanks to my mom, my late mom, uh, if you say that I have photographic mind, then mine is. My mother was illiterate, standard 4, but if you are shocked with my photographic mind, then you would faint if you were to find her. She had a better photographic mind like anybody. Somebody who can talk about something 40 years as if they happened last week. Allow me to start with Mangelepa. Allow me to start with Mangelepa. As I said, Mangelepa is a long-standing band, which is 50 years, plus or minus, but 50 years. It was formed in the 70s, and it is still there today. As I said, most of their, let us say that most of their members who are not there, it was formed together with Mazembe. But I think with Mazembe, if I'm not wrong, it's only one person who is still alive. The original, no, am I saying Mazembe? Sorry. I'm saying that Mangelepa, yeah, Mangelepa was formed around the same time with Mazembe. And Mazembe, they have died, almost all of them. There must be one or two still alive. But Mangelepa, I think 40% of them are still alive, and those 40% are still with Mangelepa. So it is a band that was formed 50 years, both of them, Mangelepa and Mazembe. But Mazembe, as I said, as I keep on saying, almost all are dead. There is one who is still alive, I can't recall. But Mangelepa is still there. Ivani is still there. So that is a long-standing band. How did a long-standing band, which is not even a Kenyan, which is a Zairian, have a place where the most secure place in Kenya named after it? That is why I'll come to it. Coincidentally, it is only recently that I learned from the Rumba Ayatollah, none other than Simeon Mufumu Kibangu, who told us that the word Mangelepa is derived from a military chant. The word Mangelepa, I just learned it. I don't know. It's not even a year. But if it is a year, it can't have even passed 3. Where he told us that Mangelepa is a military chant. Just like if you go to a military camp in Kenya, you'll hear an RSM telling askaris, lehwa, lehwa, bauta, lehwa, lehwa, lehwa. Lehwa, lehwa is short for left, right, left, right, left, right. They say lehwa, lehwa in Kenya. But in Zaire, which today is called the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, the askaris tell recruits when they're marching, they say, Mangele peace, Mangele peace, Mangele peace, Mangele peace. So Mangelepa got the word from Mangele peace, Mangele peace. Just like you say, lehwa, lehwa, about. Eh, nitashikwa na roho nianze nisahau what I was going to talk today. So Mangelepa got the word from Mangele peace, which in Kenya we say lehwa, lehwa. But that is very coincidental because I just learned it less than 2 years. But then how comes then that a GSU camp is named Mangelepa if it was not from the word marching Mangele peace? I'll just say that, but for those named Mangelepa in Magadi did know that Mangele peace also says left, right. It was named that way for the following reason. The reason why the place was named Mangelepa starts with a dance style that Mangelepa started around that time. There's a style that they started around that time that they used to call it stage martial. You'll find that when they are dancing, Kabila Kabanza was the one who would say, stage marshal. And then these people, the vocalist would start dancing as if they are marching. They would start dancing as though they were marching, and that is how the name stage marshal came. And stage marshal was a dance style for the Mangelepa. Just like there was Mukonyonyo, Mukonyonyo, Tolinga, Tolinga te, ma. So that was Viva Makale style was Mukonyonyo. And then Mangelepa style was stage marshal, and so on and so forth. This dance, to me, is a mixture of marching and dancing. To me, it was like they were marching and they were dancing. In Magadi FTC, Magadi Field Training Camp, there was a lesson that was called Fire and Movement. Fire and Movement. The nearest a civilian can understand is during the shows. Have you gone to shows, agricultural show like Nairobi show? There is a time where there is fire and movement, where askaris do a lot of shooting, and they throw a lot of colored smoke, and that one. So you'll find that during that show, agriculture show, when they are doing that, you see they are firing bullets, and also they are moving. So during this time, one doesn't have to be faster and slower than the others. In a time of contact, if you are faster, you'll be ahead of the others. If you're slower, you'll be behind others. And it is a risk to a friendly fire. If you run faster than your colleagues, or you run slower than your colleagues, it is risky because you have a gun. So whoever is ahead of you, in case of anything happen to the trigger, it may end up in a friendly fire. When it ends up in a friendly fire, so that is why in training, in the actual fighting, you are told them you handle things the way you handle, because if in training you are told to be five footsteps from the other, if an enemy sees you, si atajua kuna another person 5 foot ahead. So what happens is that in training, that is for training purposes, but in the field, some of the things that you are trained is not practicable. So in training, you are supposed to be not run ahead of the other and not run behind because of a risk of friendly fire. Instructors who were in camouflage did shoot at the feet of those who were either ahead or behind others. If you are slower or if you are quicker, the instructors who were snipers, uh, you know, KTN quoted me saying that all GSU officers are snipers. So the the instructors are snipers of the snipers, isn't it? So they would shoot between the legs, for you either to slow down and be on the same line with others, or if you're behind, to be quicker than that. So as they shot near your legs, you would jump up. Because you see a bullet falling either a few steps ahead of you or a few steps behind you. You would jump up. When you'd jump up, people used to say that that jumping resembles the Mangelepa's dance style called stage martial. So people are dancing the way stage martial is danced. So you dance like a stage martial. So that is how the place was called Mangelepa. Purely coincidence, because people are jumping up, like dancing to Mangelepa music. Just like Mangelepa, when Ivani could say stage martial, and then they start dancing that way. And as I said, that dance looked more as a mixture of a dance and a marching. And that is why they even use the word martial. I think they were trying to say that in the Air Force, we have air marshal. In the army, we have field marshal. But when it comes to dancing on the stage, the Mangelepa have got stage marshal. Now you now know why the place was called Mangelepa, that field. Um, the jumping up and down was similar to the Mangelepa dance style of stage martial, hence the name Mangelepa. The perimeter wall around the camp is made up of stones called chapati ya mawe. When I went for my orientation course, that was between 28th May 1983 and 18th. 28th May 1983 was a Saturday. 18th August 1983 was a Thursday. So you only add 10 days and I would have stayed in GSU for 3 months. We found the Israelites had left that place. The Israelites used to train the GSU. They trained the GSU up to course number 38, and I was course number 41. So we were the first Kenyans to be trained by Kenyans. Those who joined GSU 2 years earlier than me, Kina Bishop Muge, were taught by Israelites. So Israelites coming from a desert country, they taught they taught the GSU how to construct a temporary perimeter wall. They taught the GSU how to make a temporary perimeter wall. They had to choose circular stones. That were constructed up to waist high. If you know where your waist is, they constructed those stones up, that wall up to that stage, that level. Without using cement. Imagine a perimeter wall without cement. Those walls, they are still there up to today. Those who know history, there, we are even told that that pyramids, Egyptian pyramids were not made with cement or anything. It was just something like that. Israelites made a perimeter wall without cement because they were training GSU people on how to move from place to place. If it is a temporary camp, you cannot make something with cement. So they taught them how to make those stones. And those stones were placed there. Some fell, some did not. But 40 to 50, 40 something years today, the wall is still there. It happens this way, that when there came rain, there came sun, there came windy, these things used to fall. So those who were there during the Israelites people, they are the ones who made that wall. But in my age or my time, there are those stones which could not withstand elements. They could not withstand rain. They could not withstand sun. They could not withstand the wind. So ours was to replace those stones which had fallen off. So that is why the wall was made of. If you go there today, you can dismantle them one by one, but it is there to teach GSU officers how to make a temporary wall which can be placed there and dismantled when you leave. Locals saw that these stones resembles chapatis, hence the name Chapati ya Mawe. A woman visiting such a camp would not understand. A woman visiting such a place would not understand why those ugly stones can be called Chapati ya Mawe. But during a lottery operation, I was at a place called Nauyapong, which is 170 kilometers away from Kapenguria, where without a table and without a bottle, I had carried there wheat flour. Wheat flour. And when I took them there, I wanted to make chapatis. The kind of chapatis I made me remember why the GSU called those stones Chapati Ama. You see, once you mix the flour with water and whatever, you are supposed now to place it on a flat table, and then with something like a bottle, you squeeze it so that it is eh, thin and whatever. But me, without a table, without anything, I just pull those things the way you pull a bladder. And so what I had was similar to those stones in Magadi. There is a mountain called Mount Wamba in Magadi. I have always debated within me. I have always debated within me uh, which is the tougher of the Magadi tasks. Is it Mangelepa? Is it Wambua? Is it whatever? Sometimes I can say it is A, and I believe that. Sometimes I believe it is B, and I believe that. Sometimes I believe. You see, depending, even right now, if you ask me, what I'll tell you now, if you came tomorrow and ask me which is the toughest task in GSU, I'll give you another. There is a, I can't tell you how many they are because that's a government secret, isn't it? But let us assume there are 12. There are 12 tasks, assumption, and each of them is excessively harsh and tough. So, but among those tough tasks is Mount Wambua. Uh, among those tough ones is Mount Wambua. Uh, Mount Wambua is among the tough things that happened in Magadi GSU camp, as I've said. Whenever I scroll the YouTube, there are those people who record Magadi. Uh, Whenever I scroll the YouTube, you just scroll Magadi GSU camp, you'll see people have recorded that camp. People always photograph Mount Wambua for obvious reason. Now, why don't they photograph Mangelepa? Why don't they photograph range? Why don't they? Well, they photograph Wambua for obvious things. Other places cannot be obviously be visible like Mount Wambua. You see, Mount Wambua is a hill. Mangelepa, it's when I'm alone or I'm with somebody who was from the GSU. I say, but is that not Wambua? No. Is that not Mangelepa? Is that not this and that? Is this not the Chapati Ama or something? But Wambua, for anybody who has never even trained in the discipline forces, Wambua, you just see that is a hill. So I think it is a hill which during my time was changing its name. Mount Wambua had two names during my time. It had two names during my time. It was known both as Mount Recruit and as Mount Wambua. I am informed that National Youth Service have Mount Kyoko at Gilgil. And whenever I talk to people, okay, I've even met people who are in both NYS and GSU. They say that the nearest example you can give for Mount Wambua is Mount Kyoko in Gilgil. Now, why Wakamba names? Why Wakamba names? And why do people in the police or the discipline services use Kamba and Kalenjin accent? During colonial times, Luhyas were good in kitchen, domestic workers, and watchmen during the colonial time. Kikuyus, no European would want to employ a Kikuyu because European knew that every Kikuyu was a Mau Mau spy. So Kambas and Nandis and Kalenjins were the ones who mostly joined the military. So any influence in military or disciplined forces by Kambas and Kalenjin is because most of them joined the disciplined forces. Mount Wambua served two purposes. Mount Wambua, or can I call it Mount Recruit? Mount Recruit served two purposes. It was a training facility. It was a facility to train GSU officers that were out there in the field The place, it's not just a flat land. You'll get hills and valleys. So Mount Wamba was good for those people to train how to carry heavy things over a hilly place or even a slopey place. When you're carrying a heavy thing and you're descending Mount Wambua, you have to be very careful. You can fall and roll and fall onto the Magadi Nairobi highway. Nobody has fallen all that height and survived. Nobody to today. So steep that I would say that over 90% of the deaths that you have had people dying while training. That is why I tell you, don't ever bribe anybody for your child to join their forces. Forces are meant for people who are born for it. Buying yourself and going there, you'd fall down Mount Wambu and you'll die. Of course, people know of other things. You can buy the place and find even the fellow has no connection with the military. The fellow is not related to the military. You'll find such things. But on this particular time when we are talking about Mount Wambua, if you sell your land for your son or daughter to join the military, and for the child falls off Mount Wambua and dies. So that is why I'm saying 90% of those people who died during GSU training die around Mount Wambua. It was used for training, and it was also used as a punishment place for recruits. It was used for training, as I said, for you to understand how to handle hills and valleys. And that is that. Every person going for the GSU had to pass there to understand how hills and valleys are. And it was also used as a punishment center for recruits. Hence the name Mount Recruit. Punishment for recruits varied depending on the level of one's offense. And the liking of the instructor. An instructor would say you'll be punished towards the east. Another instructor would say you'd be punished towards the west. Another one would be punished towards the north or the south. But this time I want to talk about punishment where the instructor has chosen that you be punished in Mount Wambua, Mount Recruit. You could carry heavy things on your back, on your rucksack, and climb it during daytime. That one, I faced it once. You carry heavy things and then you are told there is a timer from the camp. You go climb up the hill quickly and come back. But what I did, I faced that one once. What I did is somewhere near the hill, I went and hid there the rucksack. Imagine carrying things such as half your weight. Half your weight. So I went and placed it there, ran through Mount Wambua. You know, reaching up there, you shoot. You fire something in the air so that those who are down there, they know you have reached. And then from there, I went down, picked up the bag, came back. And you see, I 80% of the distance, I didn't carry the bag. So when I came back fresh, the instructor was shocked. Maybe that is why I was never taken there again. But the worst punishment was to spend a night alone on Mount Wambua. That was the worst. I think even in the whole camp, the worst was to spend a night alone above Mount Wambua. But did I say alone? Yes, I said alone twice. But no, you are not to spend the night alone there. You were to spend the night with hyenas. Yes, spend the night with hyenas. You were supposed to shoot firing into the air paralytes for every 30 minutes. You shoot into the air with the paralytes for every 30 minutes. Now, this is what happens. This was very strategic. If you failed to shoot after 30 minutes, a recovery team was to leave immediately. If you shot after 32 minutes, you'll find the recovery team was now at the gate trying to go up the hill if you shot at after 32 minutes. The reason is if you fail to shoot after 30 minutes, anything would have happened to you. It happened that after you shoot in the air, the hyenas would run away. I don't know whether you are getting my point. You shoot into the air. When you shoot into the air, people downhill know that you are still there, safe and sound. They do not want to take chances that you did not shoot during the night and in the morning they don't even they visit the place and just find blood. Hyena, you have been the supper for the hyenas. So if you shoot every 30 minutes, the people in the camp down there, they know you are still alive. That is one. Two, when you shoot in the air, it was, I don't know, uh, people say scientifically, but then the education of those people could not do anything scientific. They knew that if you shoot in the air, hyenas run away. And then they start coming back slowly and slowly to you. And when they are coming, by the time they are near you, it is 30 minutes and you shoot again. So every 30 minutes, you are telling the people down there, I am safe and fine. But every 30 minutes, you are chasing away the hyenas until morning. When it reaches morning, the hyenas will run away. I also saw during my service time that wild animals avoid light. Wild animals avoid light, they avoid the sunshine, they avoid the noise like bullets and whatever. That is why in any camping, you are told outside your tents, you should light a bonfire till morning. Animals will wait for that bonfire to end. So you should have somebody adding more firewood until morning. Um, now you know something. So that hill used to be for training, and I said it was also used for punishment. And why was it called Wambua? Who was this Wambua? Well, Wambua was a camp sergeant major. Camp sergeant. You have heard of regimental sergeant major. You have heard of line sergeant major. There is a sergeant major in every place. If it is a regiment, it's called a regimental sergeant major. But since FTC, field training camp, is a camp, the sergeant major is called CSM, camp sergeant major. In the military, they have company sergeant major, isn't it? Company, but this one is camp. So he was the camp sergeant major for Magadi. The unwritten law was that if you went there for training, you only mounted Mount Wambua for training purposes. You are taken there for training purpose only, to be trained to get used to hills and valleys, Mount Wambua. But if you are a recruit, and with the GSU, you handle a lot of risky, sensitive guns, ammunition. For example, if you misuse a mortar bomb and it blows up, you kill everybody around. A mortar bomb, the one we used, 60 millimeters, if you place it in a stadium, the middle of a stadium where they start football, if you drop there, everybody in Nyayo Stadium would die. Because it is effective 100 meters, 100 meters. So they are very strict. If you do anything, you are taken to Mount Wambua. But among other things, today we were only talking about Mount Wambua, why it's called Mount Wambua. So, and this RSM, this company sergeant major, camp sergeant major, used to take there even people who were attending courses. And he used even to shock people that he used to punish even people who were attending inspector's course. Those who were attending inspector's course were his rank mates, but after the training, they'll be his bosses. He used to take them even there. The more he was reminded that Cosman didn't go apart from training, he said that even those who are attending inspectors course were recruit inspectors. Are you coming here for an NCO course? You are a recruit NCO. When he was told that that place is for recruits, he says, anybody here is a recruit. If you are coming here for a corporal's course, you are a recruit corporal. If you are coming here for an inspector's course, you are a recruit inspector. So any courseman is a recruit person. You see, with the GSU, you are not supposed to work there until you are mid-40s, unless you are at the command level. This is because it is so, the work is so, it involves a lot of moving here and there. So when you start getting old, you are converted to general duties. So when Sergeant Wambua was transferred to general duties, people started saying, jokes started going around that someone should look for an envelope and place there the mountain. Somebody should place the mountain in the somebody should place the mountain in an envelope and give him so that he goes with it, because he loved that one as if it was his. Hence they started calling it Mount Wambua. That is when it was started to be called Mount Wambua, and it has been Mount Wambua henceforth. With those very many remarks, uh, it is my pleasure to at least teach, especially those people who have undergone GSU training. They usually get surprised by two things. They get surprised that those things places used to be called what I've just mentioned, and they also got to know how those places got those names. Thank you. Keep on watching for more programs.